Hello, first and second grade. It is a Super Science Wednesday, and we will be reading our Lesson 5, Chapter 1, Lesson 5, on page 56. It has a large salmon jumping out of the water, and Lesson 5 is titled, How Are Animals Different? I want us to take a look at this yellow box over here to the left. The yellow box has our vocabulary words. These are the important words we want to keep our eyes out for, meaning we want to be watching and looking for these words because they're important. Let's read them. I will read the word first, and then you can read it after me. Invertebrate, vertebrate, behavior, migrate, larva, pupa. Let's find out what these words mean as we study this lesson. Get ready to learn. How does this fish differ from land animals you know of? Animals move and act in many different ways. Some fly, others crawl, run, or swim. Animals grow and change in many ways. Try this. How does a house cat look and act? I'm listening. Choose an animal and act like it. See if your classmates can guess what animal you choose. This would be fun to do at home, friends. Choose an animal and act like it. We call this animal charades. And see if your family can guess what animal you are acting. Let's read this caption down here in the water. God designed the salmon with amazing abilities. Even after years in the sea, it can find its way back to the river where it was born to lay its eggs. That reminds me a lot of that butterfly, the monarch, who knows how to get from northern America, like Minnesota, all the way down to Mexico. The butterfly migrates. And I always thought it was amazing how God gave that tiny little butterfly the ability to know how to get from Minnesota to Mexico. I feel that same way about this salmon. God designed the salmon to have that same ability to travel and know where it's going. Pretty cool. We're going to skip animals move. Why does the mealworm move the way it does? If you would like to do this at home with your family, you may, but we'll be moving on for now. Page 58. Kinds of animals. Think about it. Make a list of 10 different kinds of animals that live in your area. This would be a great thing to do if you would like something extra. You could bring this list to school. Make a list of 10 different kinds of animals that live in your area. Let's read. God created animals on the 5th and 6th days of creation. Animals looked like they do today. Some animals are invertebrates. They do not have a backbone. Other animals God created have a backbone like you do. These animals are called vertebrates. So friends, vertebrates are you and me. We have a hard, bony backbone. Invertebrates do not have a hard, bony backbone. Looking down here at the types of vertebrates, let's look at all the different types that do have a backbone. Let's look at the left column. Read them with me. Say fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. All of these examples have a hard, bony backbone, like you and me. In the center column, they give us more information about these animals. You can read that on your own. It's very interesting if you'd like to. What's your favorite vertebrate? I'm listening. All right, friends, let's move on. Page 59, the page with the polar bear at the top. Let's read together. Animals live in certain places. Polar bears live within the Arctic Circle. Other kinds of bears live in other parts of the world. Genesis 1 is the creation story. It tells how God created all things. First, he created heaven and earth, and day and night. Then, he created oceans and land. Next, he created plants. On the fifth day, God made birds and sea creatures. On the sixth day, God made land, animals, and people. Finally, on the seventh day, he created the Sabbath as a memorial of his creation. Can I just point out here in this paragraph those transitional words we've been using in our writing and reading? First, then, next, finally. Those are those transitional words we've been using in our writing and reading to put facts in order. Think about it. Make a list of 10 kinds of animals that do not live in your area. Describe the types of environments they live in. This would be fun to do, friends. You could do like a yes, these animals do live in my area, and no, these animals do not. Kind of like we did in our Bible journals, a yes and a no column. If you do that, friends, I'll give you an opportunity to share it in class. Here's a lesson activity you could also do. Choose an animal. Write its name on an index card. List some facts about the animal on the back of the card. Switch cards with a classmate. Now try to guess the animal by reading the facts. Ooh, kind of like a guessing game. If you choose an animal and write those things on the card, I will give you an opportunity to share it at circle time. We'll see if your friends can guess your animal by the facts you have written. That sounds like fun. Let's go to page 60. Animal behaviors. You know animals differ in how they look and where they live. Animals also differ in their actions or behaviors. A behavior is something an animal does or a way it acts. Singing songs is a behavior of some birds. Boys and girls, what would be the behavior of a beaver? I'm listening. Okay. What would be the behavior of a horse? I'm listening. All right, one more. What would be the behavior of a butterfly? Nice job. Let's move on. Most animals live in the same area their entire lives. Other animals migrate or travel back and forth between two places. Many birds travel north in spring. They build nests and lay eggs. Then they migrate south in fall. The birds spend winter in warmer places where there is plenty of food. In spring, they return north. Let's read this caption about a mallard duck. A mallard is a duck that migrates. Many mallards breed in Canada in spring and summer and then fly south in the fall. They return again the next spring. What's this word breed mean? It means they lay their eggs and hatch their babies. They do that where? In Canada. Let's move on. Page 61. Most owls rest and sleep during the day. Why do animals need to sleep? I'm listening. Here we go. Sleep is another type of behavior. There are animals that sleep during the day and are awake at night. Most owls and bats are actively hunting food at night, so they sleep during the day. Behaviors help animals meet their basic needs. Different animals use different behaviors to find food. Lions sneak up on their food and chase after it. Some spiders spin webs and wait for their food to get trapped. Let's read this faith connection. Faith connection. God designed animals and gave them a world to meet their needs. We do not know what behaviors He gave them before sin entered the world. We do know that some animals, such as kangaroo, nurture their young. What other examples of behaviors show God's design? I'm listening. I'm thinking of how a mallard duck, when its babies hatch, it has all their babies follow it wherever it goes. And I love that behavior. I also am thinking about chickens. They gather their little baby chicks underneath them when there's danger to protect them and cover them and hide them. That reminds me of God's design, a mother caring for her babies. I love that. Think about it. What are some characteristics of animals that hunt at night? Tell me about what some animals would have to help them hunt at night. I'm listening. Did you say they would have to have good hearing? If you did, you're right. Because it's very dark, boys and girls, and animals can't use their sense of sight at night, they'd have to use a different sense to help them hunt. And so I'm thinking of how owls and other nighttime creatures have very good hearing to help them hunt at night. Let's move on to page 62. Animal life cycles. Like plants, animals have life cycles. Not all animals have the same life cycle. All animal life cycles begin when a living thing is born or hatched. The last part of every life cycle is when a living thing dies. Some animals hatch from eggs. Adult animals such as birds and frogs lay eggs. Some animals protect their eggs. Others lay the eggs and leave. Can you think of an animal that lays its eggs and then leaves? If you said turtle, I'm thinking of a turtle. They bury their eggs in a hole in the sand and then they just walk away. Think about it. Where are some different places animals lay their eggs? I'm listening. Very good. Let's read this caption. These Nile crocodile hatchlings live in Africa. Adult crocodiles may grow to 3.5 or 5 meters in length. That's about 11 to 16 feet. If you had a tape measure, you could measure out 11 or 16 feet to see how long a Nile crocodile could get. Moving on to page 63. Many animals do not hatch from eggs. These animals start life inside their mother and are born. People are born in this way. Some animals have just one baby at a time. Some have many. Some animals live for a long time. Others live for just a few days. Look at this graph down below. The graph is called How Long Animals Live. To the left, it tells the animal. To the right, it says lifespan. That means how many years or days or weeks it lives. What animal has the longest lifespan? Did you say human? Yeah, we live for 78 years approximately, sometimes more, sometimes less. What animal has the shortest lifespan? Did you say mosquito? A mosquito only lives how long? 3 weeks. What? How does the lifespan of the African elephant compare with that of people? Human is 78. African elephant is 70. Who lives longer, boys and girls? I'm listening. Approximately how much longer does a human live than an elephant? If you said about 8 years, you're right. Page 64. Life cycle of a butterfly. A butterfly goes through big changes during its life cycle. Number 1, the egg is the first part of the life cycle. A female butterfly lays eggs on a plant. Number 2, after a few days, a caterpillar hatches from the egg. A caterpillar is called a larva. A larva is a young animal that does not look like the adult. Caterpillars eat leaves and grow larger. Number 3, a caterpillar attaches itself to a plant. It becomes a pupa. A pupa is the stage of an insect that is changing from a larva to an adult. Number 4, the change is complete. The adult butterfly has wings. It feeds on the sweet liquid that flowers make. Say number 1, egg. Number 2, larva. Number 3, pupa. Number 4, adult butterfly. Think about it. How are the life cycles of a butterfly and flowering plant the same? How are they different? Math, science. Butterflies have symmetry. They have 2 equal sides. Look at the left wing of this butterfly. Now look at the right. The halves look very similar. Draw one half of a butterfly, switch papers with a classmate or family member, and draw the other half of your classmate's butterfly. Can you make it symmetrical? Make sure each side is equal or the same. The Great Butterfly Migration. The migration of the monarch butterfly is a wonderful example of God's design in nature. Each fall, millions of these insects migrate from Canada. They nearly block out the sky. They can fly to a place they have never been before in the mountains of Mexico. They even fly to the same trees their ancestors stayed in, and they spend the winter hibernating. They leave Mexico in the spring. The butterflies make it far enough to lay their eggs. Then several generations of their offspring complete the journey north. Here's that picture. Shows them coming and going. Scientists believe that monarch butterflies use clues such as Earth's magnetic pull and the sun to find their way. What would happen to these butterflies if they stayed in the north during the winter? I'm listening. All right, let's look at the last page, 67. Make a connection. Choose an animal that lives in a hot, dry part of the world. Research the behaviors of the animal. How does it meet its basic needs? And what behaviors help it survive? Write 1 or 2 sentences to tell what you learned. If you do this, friends, you may share it at school. Please do your lesson review by yourself or with Mom and Dad. Have a great Super Science Wednesday. I'll see you next time.